Hey guys, welcome back to another Saturday edition of Trekyards. I'm Captain Foley.
I am Commander Cockins. Wow, we're so relaxed today, Stuart. Wow, hello.
I'm not relaxed. I'm just subdued because I'm not super happy and stoked about today's episode because I hate this ship. But we are doing a follow-up to one for the episodes we've already done.
So
This is the second in our follow-up series. The first was the Devore warship from Voyager. Today we are looking at something truly hideous. Samuel, what are we looking at today?
The Dauntless, the USS Dauntless from Voyager, and once again a 3D model built by Brandon McDougall, just like the Devore warship. Yes, Dauntless was episode 76 for us back on November 5th, 2015. At that time, we had Rick Sternberg to join us, and we did an episode on the ship. We didn't have any original anything, so we had to just use the images that were out there. It was pretty limited. The great thing about this ship is that you only saw it from about 7 or 8 angles in the show, but a couple of angles you never saw it. So we asked Rick about some things about the ship, and he's trying to answer our questions, like, why is there no phaser strips, all those sorts of questions. And he's like, I thought I put phaser strips on. We said, no, there aren't. Yeah, we have the 3D model now. We can see these details, and there's a few things that you just can't see in the episode, but it's the canon model. So we want to talk to you about these things and show it off to you in full detail, and hopefully Stuart give you an appreciation for what I think is a beautiful ship, the Dauntless.
I severely doubt it.
So yes, we're redoing and showing all the pre-renders. So yes, this first picture is a classic 3/4. All the details, Stuart. What do you think?
It looks very much like a thing that you'd find in the ocean swimming around. Looks like marine life. And I'm really not super stoked about the NX-01A registry number.
Yes, it was the first NX. Apart from Excelsior, it was the first of its sort of like NX-01 style. It's just, it's funny they pre-did that. Doesn't make a lot of sense. But then again, he's an alien. He can do what he wants.
Yeah, that's true. It's not an actual Federation ship. We got to clarify that. An alien made this ship out of their subconscious thoughts and wanted to get them home. Anyway.
And if you're clever, you might notice and think, what? NX-01A? What? That's ridiculous. This ship was featured in the Season 4 finale, Hope and Fear, when we thought we were going to get to the Alpha Quadrant. Alien spaceship, as you said, obviously it was done by another race, and everything goes wrong at the end of the day. Not much information ever given about this ship, but hopefully this will give some more indication. Now, one thing that I really note about this ship is that the hull Aztecing, the detail, especially if you look at the aft and the nacelles, it's like the different plates reflect light differently, which gives it a sort of plate feel, but very unique. Like, it's not Aztecing, it's not cream and crisp like Voyager, it's unique. And it's weird. Is it more advanced? Do you think that fits into that? Or is it trying to say it's an alien design by being so different? What do you think?
I think it would speak more to the advancement, because this was supposed to have like a really advanced propulsion system. So that's what I think they were going for there. If they were thinking that far ahead, they could have just put here, put this texture on. It looks different than what we were used to.
Well, there's a little bit of a bonus thing at the end of this episode we'll talk about. But I did talk to Brandon a little bit about this ship, and they went through multiple iterations of the textures. So I think this is more of a deliberate, interesting effect sort of thing.
Yeah, I'd say it speaks more to the advancement and the propulsion systems, perhaps.
Cool. But Stuart, we see it in the episode, obviously, because it's on screen. But we never get a sense of scale, roughly. I know they say roughly the scale of the ship, pretty damn small. But what do you think compared to other Federation ships? Because it's always fun to see the scale charts compared to other ships from Voyager. So say an Equinox or a Prometheus or something. What is it compared? They said it was smaller, but what did you envision? And based on the details, how much smaller is it?
Well, based on the window sizing, and from what I know about the episode and what I remember about talking to Rick about, I'm assuming it's maybe like half the size of Voyager. I know that a lot of the Voyager crew couldn't fit.
They could, but it'd be doubling up bunks. It was like there's no amenities. Yeah,
it would be a rough trip, but they'd get home. So maybe not half the size of Voyager, then maybe just a little over half, maybe 3/4 of the size of Voyager. And with its shape, there wouldn't be a lot of internal volume. So that's my guess.
Yeah, well, the next picture shows it in comparison to the other great 3 ships of Voyager, and also another. And you never think the Defiant's that big, but yeah, it's the same size as the Nova, or the Nova's that small, just differently shown. And these are all the real models from the shows, obviously. But yeah, really a teeny ship, actually.
Are you sure that's the Defiant size? Because the Nova looks a little small compared to it, and it looks a little big compared to the Intrepid.
Well, the Defiant has a couple of different sizes in the show. It's one of the big. It changes. You see it fly over the Lakota, and it's like that's a huge ship. And no. The Defiant either is 100 meters, 150 meters, or kind of like 280. When it docks in Deep Space Nine, sometimes it's very It's very all over the place. Okay. But the default size that the model's built at is 150 meters. Which is this one. I know Tobias says 100, but I go with the default because when you load a scene, that's what it comes out as. And so for most of just flyby shots, it's 150. And since it has several shuttles in and a couple of decks, it's, but that's the thing. The Nova class is a small ship. It was meant to be. I mean, it's like 80 crew, and no holodecks, no amenities. It's just operated differently. I mean, think how much space a quantum torpedo launcher is going to take. You can get a couple of rooms for that. So shows how small the Dauntless is.
So guys, we just want to make sure we get things kind of right, and since this is the default size, and at least we explained it, so if you have issues with the Defiant being that big, I mean, there are different scales for it. Unfortunately, that's just the way Star Trek works.
But
anyway.
Teeny ship, the Dauntless. But it's interesting to see how then, these are 4 out of Rick's designs. You can see how the evolution, goes from Voyager to Equinox to Dauntless to Prometheus. It's like that lineage of getting pointier and pointier, and then you get I guess Dauntless is that next progression. But you can I can really see it being that engineering prototype. Like it is that this is built around a slipstream engine, and then the crew to house said slipstream engine.
Yeah, that's
the ship.
Yeah. So I was roughly right with my scaling, with my thinking.
Which is fun to see compared to other ships. As you said, it's interesting to see. It's that big. It's like, it's that big.
Yeah.
If
we go to the next shot, this is it from the side. Again, here you get more. This makes the Defiant seem more realistic to me, that size. Although still the Nova looks really small.
It's not a big ship.
I know. I'm sorry, but and this makes the Dauntless look a little more beefy. From the side, because you get to see the thickness of it.
Yeah.
Roughly the same height as Voyager, so there is quite a bit of internal volume there.
But I think a lot of that is a slipstream engine, a lot of that bottom part. And since the saucer is just literally like a slicing, internal thing, it's still only like 1 deck thick because of how it's weirdly slanted. But it's just fun to see it in comparison to other ships. It does kind of fit in the fleet, just an advanced version. I love the engines. I love how minimalistic they are. But I love the ship. I love what it's trying to say. But I like I wish it was more. If this was textured the same as Voyager, having that same creamy blue hull, I think it would feel almost perfectly Federation.
I disagree. I mean, it just doesn't.
Or maybe add a bridge module as well. Like make that less integrated.
Let's go to the next picture.
This is a view we never got to see. Stuart, there is a shuttle bay.
Yes, we were debating that in the last episode. We even asked Rick, and he wasn't sure.
He thought he put one in.
If he put in shuttle or not.
But yes, and actually, thanks to the Eagle Moss model, they did put one in because they obviously use the real model as reference. But you can see it's like clearer here. Yeah, there is a shuttle bay. There's a secondary impulse drive or some sort of vent. But boy, is it integrated, and you can understand that you couldn't see it in the show because it was being hidden. So what do you think? Now you're finally seeing the real after view and the real details, and what do you think?
If you go with what the ship was purpose built for, to kind of get them home slipstream thing, why do they need a shuttle? I mean, maybe to shuttle over some cargo or supplies from Voyager, but you don't have a lot of room, so I don't know. It just makes no sense to have on a ship this. I don't know. It's also a very small door, and the way it's curved around it doesn't feel like it should be there. It's like a last minute decision. Oh, we need a shuttle bay there.
I don't think you'd be surprised to hear I do have a scale shot with the shuttle bay later on. So we'll see actually how big it is, which will be fun. Again, I really like the ship, and it's nice to be able to bring it to you guys, the proper version. And again, you can see all this really unique light spec on the hull. It's a weird ship to light, actually, because I had to make it slightly brighter for this episode so you can see the details. But when you light it, it just reflects very oddly. But yeah, hyper integrated. Actually, no windows based on this entire secondary hull. It's really integrated. But the next picture is a bottom view. A lot more details you can see here. For example, there's this big door. There's a big
some kind of cargo door or something.
And the mystery of the phaser strips, Stuart. Do you see them?
Yes, I do.
So yes, she has 2 phaser strips on the bottom saucer thing, or bottom secondary hull thing. So
but
yes.
none on the top, none forward facing.
No.
That's just...
Well, if you're zooming and just do that, then you've got the... I mean, if it's that maneuverable, the thing is a really small ship. It's bad that you're missing the arc, but still, it wouldn't take much of a rotation just be able to fire the phasers and then, Well, it's like a sailing ship. You've only got those 2 arcs, Maybe there's some
pirate ship with cannons on the side.
Just any old naval vessel. Some comparative naval vessel. Sue me.
They've got turrets that face forward and back. Anyway, I see some windows, some little portholes that kind of face inward a little bit. And escape pods, of course. And again, you get a real sense of scale with those escape pods because we know how many they can hold. And, plus the slipstream drive, which is cool. The little deflector thing there. But anyway, that's what I see.
And actually, what's interesting is that they've got like cool little it looks like sort of a crystal area underneath it. It looks like impulse crystal, but there's escape pods right above it. So I'm guessing that's where the engine room is, and you can escape right from the engine room or something. Because it's very strange to have them just below the big technology. But Stuart,
there's probably an ejection port or something at the bottom there.
Probably
the warp core or the slipstream core.
Yeah. Well, it's new technology, isn't it? It's a whole different style. Now, one thing, Stuart, actually, I'm glad we did the Devore warship first. Look at the front of the ship. Do you see a familiar piece?
Well, yeah, the little room.
Yeah.
That was like for the shuttle bays.
Yeah.
Not necessarily sure that's what that is on this one. It doesn't really look like a room.
It's just funny. It's a similar detail on the Brandon ship. I like the fact there's something there. It would have been cool if that had come out further and be a quantum launcher like the E. I think if you were doing a real Federation version, plonk that right in there, ups even more the weapon capacity. And it's funny if you again look at the slipstream. It looks very similar to the Devore's impulse drive. Another familiar shape.
Yeah, absolutely. Just flipped upside down.
Yeah. Although no Bassard collectors.
No, that's one of the things I noticed right away when I saw the ship. But whatever. I mean, it's so advanced it doesn't need it for this type of propulsion.
Yeah, well, exactly. The slipstream doesn't need stellar matter. The next picture is a have you never seen the show? Because why would you? Just a weird sort of fun perspective, right on.
Looks
shot.
like the Delta Flyer.
Yes, that's what I thought when I was rendering it. Yeah, I don't know if I've got. Okay, I do have one, but the next picture then again the escape pods a little bit different to other existing ones. It's interesting. There's a little hatch thing, and again very minimal windows. The next picture is what we theorized might have been a torpedo launcher, but on the real model, if you zoom right in, that's what you see. What do you think?
I mean, that could be a probe launcher. That could be a launching bay for like Vipers, shuttles of some sort. I don't know. It could be the secondary deflector, like on the Intrepid class. Maybe set back way in there. It's not lit up. I don't know. It could be a lot of things because that detail is kind of vague, to be honest.
Yeah, it's very difficult to light that as well to make the whole ship look good and light that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I was interested to see there is something in there. My gut says absolutely that's the forward torpedo launcher, but recessed as for security. And the whole ship is very interconnected, so to have it so recessed would be, you can't hit it, but it still has that fun forward firing arc.
That fun forward firing arc?
I don't know, just words. Alliteration, guys. The next picture is a close-up on the new impulse, or sorry, RCS thrusters.
Yeah.
And a little bit different.
These ones are similar to what we see on the actual shuttle that we don't use anymore. The Columbia has like ports that look like that for its maneuvering thrusters. So
I just like the attention to new detail, having it be.
Yeah.
Because there should be yellow, there should be just holes, but they've just had a bit of extra detail.
Yeah.
And I think you noticed that all the windows are blue in this ship to again say alien. Chin wag, chin wag.
Yes. The next thing is a greebly package that's located on the ship.
Mm-hmm. Right where it should be on the on the Federation ships.
And it's got some unique colors and textures in there and shapes, I guess.
Looks sci-fi.
It does. And the color that dark purple reminds me of the Relativity. You know, some kind of something advanced.
Which is also Brandon McDougall 3D build.
There you go.
He did some really classical ships from Voyager. The next picture, though, is a great close-up of the aft view. Again, primary impulse engines, which are very standard. The secondary, which I never noticed, the secondary grill tertiary impulse drive units, or maybe like they help propel it into slipstream by like maybe they're aft thrusters, or I don't know. And then obviously you can see the big RCS thruster packet at the back, at the head of it. What do you think about the secondary impulse drive something?
I mean, that could be what they are. They're not necessarily what they are. They could also be like for maneuvering. You know, like super advanced RCS thrusters that really help maneuver it. Assuming it's a maneuverable ship. Cause
what
it's
if
so
the
small.
fins do this? Then you could help point the.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it could be just ultra high powered RCS maneuvering jets. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. That's a great idea, actually.
Well, you had it. I just continued it.
Wow. Team Trekyards, everyone.
Yeah. And the next picture is. And this is funny. This is funny. I just noticed a little Easter egg that isn't meant to be there, but that's okay. So,
I noticed it too.
Again, I love seeing the real models. A lot of stuff you shouldn't see, but it's also just really interesting. I try to make the model look good while I'm doing it. But yeah, I love these engines. Interesting how the grilling is so. Like, you know how before an operation you draw on where you're going to stab the person to get his heart out or something. It kind of feels like that, like drawn on. But I like the minimalist. I like the. It kind of feels like to me, it feels like there's stuff hidden. There's a lot of internal workings, like the TOS colony. They just then put the armor on top to give it this slipstream ability. Everything needs to be internal except the most minimal grilling elements.
I mean, if it was an alien ship, I'd be like all on board with them. They look kind of cool. But
it is an alien ship.
I hate them on a Federation. I know, but I hate them on a ship that's supposed to be Federation. I don't know why. I don't know why. I hate the gills that it's got, and no Bizarre collector, and just the shape is all wrong for me. I just don't like them. I do not like them, Sam. I do not like nacelles with hands.
I was thinking as you said that. That's ridiculous. But the Easter egg, Stuart.
Yes.
Which, if we zoom in now to the registry. What does it say?
USS Prometheus. As soon as you said there's an Easter egg, I darted my eyes around and saw it right away.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought Message Bolt was after this. I mean, obviously it isn't, given the fact that this has a Prometheus, unless maybe it was originally told to be the Prometheus and they changed the Dauntless. Although that seems to be an odd choice. Message in a Bottle is season 4, episode 14. So yeah, they reused the texture, and again. You never saw it in the show, but this fact is actually also called Prometheus. I guess the guy didn't pick which ship he wanted to call it, and so he painted different models of the hull, different things, but the program got mixed up, and it's one. That's what happened. Yeah.
Or it could just be it's an awful ship.
No, I like it. And the next picture, we're going to look at the shuttle bay, and indeed it has this launch bay style. I mean, hyper integrated, ridiculously integrated shuttle bay.
It looks too organic.
Okay.
It looks way too organic to me. And like I said, it looks tacked on. Like, just throw it in that little space back there. which it probably was. Probably one of the last things they did.
And the fact that you never see that angle in the show means they didn't,
Yeah. But yeah, I don't like it. I
just like how different it is. It's like, we need to have a door here to get us into the shuttle bay, but we need this. I mean, the hull, obviously it's alien hull, but to me it really says these shapes are the slipstream shapes. You need this to make it realistic, and so like the fall off allows only this. But Stuart, this is when we ask ourselves, what can actually fit into this shuttle bay door? Stuff we didn't know at the time, that we couldn't extrapolate at the time. But Stuart, how big is that door? Do you think it can fit a work bee, a shuttle, a shuttlecraft, a Delta Flyer? What do you think? For such a teeny ship.
Yeah, I know. That's from. I think the Delta Flyer would be way too big to go through that door.
Yeah.
A work bee would probably fit fine. Maybe two of them side by side. I can't see.
Could you fit the standard Type 9 shuttle in there or not? The standard speedboat, what do you think? Because that's what this next picture is going to be. So
I'm trying to think what size that is in relation to the Delta Flyer. I would say no. You'd probably clip the cells off if you tried.
Well, go to the next picture and reveal.
Oh! Yeah, you couldn't even fit the main body, I don't think.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could. But you're right. Everything the nacelle-wise will be ripped off. Yeah, this is a very small shuttle bay door.
Wow.
This is like... I mean, that canopy... Okay, it's a two-person canopy. Well, is it two-person or is it one-person canopy, the Type 9? It's a one-person, isn't it?
It's a one-person, I believe, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a work bee probably... That's still quite tall. But this is like... This is not a door for anything of our science. I mean, this is like their little shuttle pod or escape pods or just a walk-in. It's a teeny door.
It's not thought out. Like I said, I think it's just the last minute. Let's put a detail there. It looks like a shuttle bay because everybody's used to shuttle bay. Don't know if we're going to see it in the show. Oh, guess what? We didn't. So.
And the next picture is a close from the underside detail, and it is different to the Devors, so it was fresh built. Maybe this is the forward deflector module thing. It's clearly an advanced race. Not only can they create slipstream, which is like 100 times faster than warp, also they can molecularly redo an entire bridge to change the matter. Like, that's not holodeck, that's physical matter they're redoing. So clearly well and above of our technology, even if they don't have transporters. No, they'd one transporter room. They haven't got holodecks, but I mean that's just 8-bit technology. So I think this is probably the forward deflector unit, the second, the minimal one, just to help guide the slipstream drive.
Well, you're kind of along the same thinking as me. I thought it was like the crow's nest on a ship. You put it out there so you can see what's coming up because you're going so fast. Look, there's an iceberg. Go to the right. Yeah. So that's what that is. The guy sits in there and goes, "I'm so far ahead of the." Forward of the ship that I can I don't know what it is. I'd equate it to a crow's nest or an observation thing of some sort for the quantum, sure.
So let's look at the quantum slipstream drive. The next picture, Stuart, is a view from this view, and you can see the hugely curved hull. And curves are more difficult in 3D than in other shapes. I really like how this all curves. And you can see the impulse drive or the RCS there. And again, that door, which is a really weird door, but hey, nice to have something else there. Super organic. Mm-hmm. Next picture, another close-up. Gives even more indication of what the real details look like, because that's the point of the show, is a follow-up. Mm-hmm. And the phaser strips. And I didn't do a picture of the underside of the nacelle configuration, because there's just a space underneath the nacelles.
Yeah.
Well, because are those 3 phaser strips? Because they look like the same detail.
They look like they might be, yeah.
Is that 3? I don't know why I didn't do the angle. I might do one cut in now. Are those 3 phaser strips after the crystal as well, do you think? Maybe they all connect with one big... Because that'd be pretty interesting if, the forward torpedo launcher, and as soon as it spins, it just obliterates you with all these different phases or disruptors or just beams. I mean, it's a weird way of doing it, but... Maybe that's how I like to...
I would say no, they're not phaser strips. But it's the part right behind, and I don't know if they attach to the ones underneath the nacelles or not.
I was saying that because the model sort of implies they might.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And the next picture is a nice top view. But Stuart, that we have something new to show today. So the Dauntless, as we know, looks like this with this odd hull texture. Well, in fact, they were alternates. This was the final one they picked, but we were given access to an earlier version, which I was actually talking to Brandon about, and then I was like, oh, there's something else. And I really liked it. So if you cut to the next picture, that was an earlier iteration with a more Federation-style silver hull. This was just before the final version. I think version 18, if I can recall. So what do you think of it now with a much more Federation-y look?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's the best ship ever. It's like now my favorite ship ever. It's great. No, I absolutely still hate it. It looks very much more like the Voyager, but I think they wanted to get away from that and kind of imply that it's either more advanced or there's something fishy going on. It might be an alien design. So they thought they probably assumed they should change the hull color. I guess I prefer it with the more Voyager-esque color if I had to pick.
And then to close on the first picture, the Dauntless. But I wanted to show off a ship that we did in 2015, the best we could at the time, even with Rick's help. But here we are, even more details. You can see the ship in its full glory because, again, time was put in to make this model and put into the show. And we always want to represent and say well done, and it still holds up for the most part. So thank you, Brandon McDougall, for another great model. And we hope to talk to you at some point soon about your multiple cool ships like Prometheus and the Dauntless and the Devore.
Yes, looking forward to speaking to him, actually. That'd be cool. All right, guys, if you are too, you can help us by making sure we keep making shows and going like we go, because we...
Support us before you go.
Because we ain't planning on going solo. Anyway, you can support us by heading over to Trekyards.com and clicking the big donate button. Give us a one-time donation. Think of it as a tip, if you will, for all the free entertainment we provided with you guys with. As Samuel says, this is kind of his full-time job. And I do this kind of in my spare time. But, I mean, I could be out doing other things. And
part-time plus weekends we kind of do.
Yeah, we're here for you guys. So if you could support us, just throw us $10 or whatever on Trekyards.com with the donate button. You can do that. Or you can go over to Patreon and think of it like a magazine subscription or like CBS All Access. Maybe I shouldn't say that.
Trekyards All Access.
Might be a bad thing. But think of it as a subscription service where you get all this content for free. But if you could help us out with like $1 a month, $10 a month, $5, less than a cup of coffee kind of thing a month, that really adds up if everybody does it. And it helps us, focus more on the show, give you better shows, bring in new guests, new show ideas, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So.
And the fact is, we wouldn't still be doing this show without Patreon. Definitely not increasing the quality month on month. That just wouldn't happen. We just wouldn't be able to fund the bills, the real life bills, because that's what it pays for. It pays for us. We're not going to earn $80,000 a year from this, but if we can earn enough to pay all of our bills to then spend the time that we need to on this, and you guys get to enjoy it week on week, that's all we need, But not just that, guys. You can like this video, all our videos, please do. Or subscribe to this channel for more amazing Trek and Fleet Yards content on a pretty darn regular basis. Basically, any day of the week you'll find something cool. Be it the regular Saturday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Sundays, or extras that we happen to throw in the pod.
That's right. So until next time, guys, I'm Captain Foley.
And I'm Connor Holmes.
And I still hate this ship.
I still love it. Thanks, Rick and Brandon. Bye, guys.